In this video, I'm going to be doing an analysis of the show Adventure Time, specifically Season 4, Episode 14. Firstly, the show is about a boy, Finn the human, and his brother, Jake the dog, who go on fun and wacky adventures. The episode starts off in the midst of a hostage crisis. Finn and Jake are tasked with defusing the situation. Cookie is holding up a grocery store and demanding that the princess give her crown over to him. Princess Bubblegum makes an attempt to compromise with Cookie. However, they fail to reach a common ground, so she fails to get her foot in the door and ends up getting the door in her face.
Just give me that crown!
In order to infiltrate the grocery store, Jake says he'll dress as a mailman and Finn says he'll dress as Jake's shadow. However, Princess Bubblegum has different prototypes in her head that interfere with her decisions. Her prototype of a mailman doesn't match Jake's appearance, and she says he looks more like her prototype of a milkman.
But I always wanted to be a mailman.
Nah, you don't look like a mailman. You look like a milkman.
This upsets Jake, but he obliges anyway. Once they are both dressed up, they both enter the store. Both characters split up. Finn leaves to set up traps, while Jake goes over to Cookie to talk to him. At first, Cookie is reluctant to speak, but Jake manages to get his foot in the door by reaching a common ground, telling Cookie that he also dislikes the princess.
Sorry, man. I was just trying to get away from that rotten Princess Bubblegum for a while, you know? Isn't she just the worst?
Wait, you hate Princess Bubblegum too? Get out of here.
Because I wanted to be a mailman so bad, you see? But the princess, it made me be a milkman anyway.
Boy, I hear you, brother.
Cookie, you there? Over.
Yeah, go ahead, Chippolina. Over.
I just saw a light go on in the stockroom. Probably nothing. I'll check it out. Over.
Okay, over.
Chippolina, one of Cookie's chips, falls victim to unintentional blindness. She says she sees a light go on in the stockroom, but is too trusting to think it could be something bad. She then fails to notice Finn waiting to attack because her attention is engaged on the light.
That was our juice box! That was our juice!
So what's your story, man?
Cookie tells Jake about his childhood. He tells him about how he grew up in an orphanage, and his guardians had a neglectful parenting style, which gave Cookie an insecure attachment style, and made him and all the other kids at the orphanage depressed. Due to the neglectful parenting style, Cookie developed a fear of being abandoned, and would heavily value the little time any adult figure would spend with him. He says he wants the princess's crown because he wants to be a princess, because the few times the princess would visit them is when all the kids at the orphanage seemed happy. Just like Princess Bubblegum, he wants to make the people around him happy. During one of the princess's visits, she asks Cookie what he wants to be when he grows up.
Anything your sweetheart desires.
Cookie answers he wants to be a princess just like her to make everyone around him happy.
I want to be a princess like you.
She then laughs at him, which traumatizes him. This is a form of positive punishment, where to discourage a behavior, you react in a bad way. After hearing this, Jake changes sides. Jake's motivation is first to help the princess, then it's to help Cookie. Jake's first motivation is caused by environmental factors, such as hostages in danger and the command from the princess. But the final motivation is caused by psychological factors, such as Jake emphasizing with the Cookie. Cookie then calls for his chips. However, none of them answer.
All chips, report in. It's time to get real. Over. Chips, chips, over. Chips. Where are my chips? Chippolina, Chipler, Chipton, Chipper. Is anyone there? Chip face?
He starts to freak out with fear and anxiety that either something has happened to them or they've abandoned him. The neglectful parenting style used to raise Cookie is why he acts this way. With insecure attachment, a child who is clingy towards their caregiver will also end up being clingy in future relationships. When you get stressed out enough, your amygdala, the fear part of the brain, sends signals to the hypothalamus, which stimulates the automatic nervous system, leading to hard to control or sometimes even involuntary movements and actions.
Something happened to my chips! Ah! I'm about to flip out, man.
Jake then tells Cookie that there is another way out, which gives Cookie a sense of control. Cookie listens because Jake's foot is already in the door. Jake then goes outside and tells the princess that Cookie is not a threat and tells her why Cookie is acting the way he is.
Don't worry, princess. It's okay now.
But the princess doesn't listen and still wants him punished. She has an anchoring bias. She relies too heavily on the first piece of information that she has on a topic and is unable to change her mind afterwards. The princess tells Jake she'll arrange a trap horse for the Cookie to go onto, and once he's vulnerable, they'll capture him. When Cookie and Jake walk out of the store, Cookie is excited to go on the horse, despite it obviously being a trap horse.
That. Dang.
This is confirmation bias, where Cookie only chooses to see the information that supports what he wants, blinding him to the obvious truth. Jake stops him though, and they escape together.
Jingo! Jingo!
You're magic!
After them!
Finn and the banana guards go after them. Finn catches up to them, but is confused with Jake. He can't understand Jake's motivations because of his availability bias. When Finn imagines a hostage holder, he imagines a bad person. Jake explains to him that Cookie is a good person, but Finn can't understand this. Due to Finn's availability bias, the example in his mind is more representative to him than any new information he receives. Finn's motivations also stem from conforming with the ethics of the community. He follows rules like everyone else and acts in a way that he feels the people around him want him to act. However, Jake wants him to act in the opposite way, confusing him even more.
You're either with us or against us.
Against?
They reach a cliff with a short jump. Jake says he can make it, which he definitely could, especially considering he's a magic dog. However, Cookie doesn't believe they can make it and he halts Jake. As a child, Cookie was laughed at when he opened up about his dream of being a princess. This acted as a positive punishment, giving him the subconscious idea that he could never succeed. Now he doesn't feel like he can accomplish anything, even with the odds in his favor. From a young age, he was conditioned into believing that his dreams are silly and that he will fail, so he doesn't even feel it's worth to try. With the guards coming and seemingly no way out, Cookie decides to jump off the cliff.
It was wonderful. Thank you, Jake.
Careful, princess!
You know what? It's funny, but you sort of remind me of a mailman I used to know. I do? Yep.
Princess!
The number one reason for suicide is depression, a deep feeling of hopelessness. Cookie has been dealing with depression his entire life. At this moment, Cookie feels hopeless. Fortunately, when his body breaks apart from the impact on the ground, he doesn't die. He is then put back together and placed in a psych ward, as he is deemed to be a threat to himself. After Cookie has made a semi-physical recovery, Jake visits him. Jake gives Cookie a crown and calls him a princess. The others at the psych ward see this and accept Cookie as their princess. And now Cookie gets to live out his dream of being a princess to make the people around him happy. Now some significant experiments. In the monkey wire experiment, a monkey had two mothers, one with food that was made of wire and one with no food that was made of cloth. The monkey would only go to the wire monkey for food, but would spend more time with the cloth monkey for feelings of love and affection. From this, we learned that love is just as, if not more, necessary than food and water for an animal growing up. Similarly, Cookie has access to everything he would need to live a comfortable life, but he still chooses to go after the crown as he has no source of love in his current living situation. To Cookie, his living situation is the wire monkey and the crown is the cloth monkey. In the Stanford prison experiment, people were assigned as guard or prisoner. The guards had power trips while the prisoners were rowdy and rebellious. In the same way, the characters in this episode lost themselves to their roles. The princess is an authority figure and wanted to punish Cookie, as that's her job. Finn is a fighter and wants to stop crime. However, once it's all over, they are all able to act more clearly and are all happy when they see Cookie becoming a princess. To conclude, we should all make an attempt to act the best way that we can. Without Jake, Cookie would be in jail instead of getting the mental health treatment that he needs. One good action can have an effect on someone for the rest of their lives. The end.